GP Detroit. Stay tuned.
Outfit your Magic collection with the new
Hello, friends. Welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Detroit. We are just about ready to go down to Michael Sigrist, Samuel Tharmaratnam. I got it right again.
That is, you got it right. First try. That's impressive.
Both
Sammy T, as he's known.
Sammy T, deal. Both these teams sitting at 7-0. And Sammy T starting off Elvish Visionary.
I'm not just making that up. His Facebook name is actually Sammy T.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, then I won't mind calling him that. We haven't had a chance to watch much of Jesse Hampton, Michael Sigrist, and Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa. They've been quietly, I guess, moving up the ranks until 7-0 today. But good to watch him here.
Samuel Tharmaratnam is a Canadian player. For those of you who, obviously, people who are watching this are probably familiar with Michael Sigrist, #1 player in the world, recently made it to the finals of the Pro Tour just 2 weekends ago. But Sammy Tharmaratnam, some Grand Prix top 8s. Most notably, he top 8'd Grand Prix Miami in 2013, playing a card-for-card copy of a deck from an article I wrote.
I was about to say, I'm impressed by your knowledge of him right here, but then you kind of let me down. Looks like we got the green-black mirror here. Elvish Visionaries trading off. Sammy T leading, or I guess following up with an Undercity Troll. Sigrist has Recluse, which quickly gets Reeve sold. Now, Sigrist also won the Magic Online Championship Series for this month not too long ago, too. He's just been on a complete tear. And we'll see him not too long at the Magic World Championships as well in PAX.
Yeah, he is a beast.
He is a beast. Oh, and congratulations to him. He also just had twins, I believe. I might have said this before, but not while I was in the booth. So
yeah,
everything's coming up Siggy, as he's known. Feted in for Samuel. Let's see what Sigrist has to follow up on his side. Now, what are these green-black mirrors are about in this format? What do you think? Is it more grindy? Is it kind of
I imagine it's
better tempo?
very grindy. I mean, in general, the green-black decks are pretty grindy, and you're attempting to, win games via card advantage. You want to use cards like Read the Bones. You want to be using things like Cruel Revival to return creatures. Sometimes, you can be a dedicated elf deck, but that's pretty hard to assemble. Undercity Troll gives Sammy, an aggressive start, but these decks are going to want toughness.
Sure.
And, the Recluses are precisely what the green-black deck is looking for. You can just gum up the ground, wait a while, and then hopefully, if you're playing a green-black deck like this in a sealed format, you're going to want to have some bombs in that deck. That's not you don't build a deck with a ton of toughness and card draw and removal and then not have a top end to win with. So I imagine on the top end from Sigrist here, we're going to be seeing some pretty big cards.
And actually, this is precisely what you were talking about. Sigrist has multiple Hitchclaw Recluses, kind of just gumming things up, blocking the troll there. Tharmaratnam has Read the Bones, like you were talking about, again, so just some card advantage and grinding it out. We'll see if he has anything to follow it up. He doesn't have access to too much mana. Just 2 swamps, passes the turn.
It's actually pretty rare that you're going to see 2 decks like this run into each other, because this isn't a common deck to be built in this sealed format. Even in team sealed, where you're forced to build a lot of different decks. I mean, things like black-white, things like red-white, things like blue-green, those all seem like options that are generally more favored. But especially because the uncommon Shaman of the Pack is like tribal-centric.
Yeah, very much so.
But I mean, if you can build a good green-black control deck, it's a very powerful thing.
So Tharmaratnam actually getting punished here quite severely for not tapping 2 swamps to cast Read the Bones. He didn't leave up a green source, so now Sigrist was able to Reeve Soul it. No regeneration.
Yeah, that is definitely quite rough.
All right, follows up with an Orchard Spirit. I'm actually a fan of Orchard Spirit. I mean, it gets a bad rap sometimes, but it gets in. It has its evasion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a fine card. Yeah. I play 2/2 flyers for 3 all the time. And it's just slightly worse. But in some ways, it's you know, better. I've had it come up where my opponent had what is it? Cloud the
2/3.
yeah
Scrapskin Drake.
Scrapskin Drake.
Right,
yeah.
right,
and
right.
Scrapskin Drake obviously cannot block Orchard Spirit.
Sure.
Pretty exciting.
We've seen a lot of Scrapskin Drakes in the these feature rounds.
You have?
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen any.
Well,
Living in different worlds. It's because you're in rounds with Marshall.
sure, yeah. Rock Smaller on Sammy's side. And that's one of the beaters we're looking for, one of the finishers that you were talking about for these green-black decks. Let's see if...
As far as common 5-drops go, I think that's my favorite.
Oh, yeah. That one's just excellent.
Slam dunk.
And the trample just puts it over the top, too. You know, you can't just chump it to prevent the renown. You know, you have to get 4 toughness worth of creatures in front of it. Looks like the teammates are weighing in on what they want to do here. Remember, this is still just game 1. And we can expect a little grindier matchup for the green-black decks.
Yeah, these games could take a while. What a team, by the way. Jesse Hampton, one of the most naturally talented Magic players in the world. Michael Siegrist, who's, according to Top 25, he's the best Magic player in the world. And then Hall of Famer Paula Vitor Damarosa, just unreal.
Yeah, currently ranked tied for 23rd, and he'll be at the World Championships in addition to Sigrist.
Yeah.
So Priest of the Blood Rite looks like it's going to be Sigrist's play. Oh, wait, pump fake. 5 mana. He's going for...
Could it be?
He has multiple 5-drops apparently. He's just going to snap Unholy Hunger and get in. All right.
I like it.
Sure, you know that's going to be one of the creatures you need to deal with anyways. And you don't want to put your demon token in range of like Wild Instincts or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that Sammy still has a ton of cards in hand. He's resolved to Read the Bones. Just using a removal spell on one of your opponent's good threats is probably better than just playing a good threat of your own and giving Sammy the opportunity to play a removal spell and be very far ahead.
Exactly. Completely agree. Some more grindiness here with the Llanowar Empath on Sammy's side. Takes a look at his scry. Does he like what he sees? Consults the hand.
Ooh, and leaving both on top.
So we're probably going to see a creature here. A Mana Gorger Hydra. One of the
That's
best
a good one.
rares in the format. Man. Maybe not so good in the green-black matchup just because you have access to spot removal, card removal, Unholy Hunger that we saw already, Cruel Revival type things, but definitely one to watch out for.
I mean, it's a card that absolutely demands a removal spell at 3 mana.
Yeah.
So good.
Alrighty, looks like Sigrist might get in here with the Orchard Spirit offering the trade. Maybe not. Alright, Sammy's going to take that offer. And now I imagine we see the priest come out. Yeah, I got to say, it's probably looking like Siggy's way ahead on this board currently.
Oh, absolutely. He has a 5/5 demon.
Now remember, Sammy topped this other card as well, so he did like what he saw. Is that his own priest? I couldn't actually quite see it. He riffled it in his hand pretty quickly, but
Oh, that's funny.
priest versus priest battle. If that is the case, then Sigrist is going to have the first say of untapping with them both on the board. But he's just going to play the Mana Gorger Hydra and then a Timberpack Wolf, triggering the Gorger. You know what? This might be a close game. Even though Siggy has a 5/5 flyer on the board, that Hydra can get out of hand real quick.
Oh, he has another Reeve Soul.
That's a pretty good draw here. Of course, the Reeve Soul is going to trigger the Mana Gorger Hydra before it resolves, but it's still going to be small enough to take care of the Hydra.
Mike Siegrist's got to be careful to cast that Reeve Soul first here. No whammies.
Consults his hand. I like this play. So he's going to attack in with the priest first. See what kind of blocks Sammy might like to make, if any.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah. We're looking at the top of the screen there. Looks like PV took down the first game over Jesse Molden. trade away for the priest, or do you just take it?
I'm not sure. I think you kind of have to trade because it's 7 coming at you.
Sure.
You're 14.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess you don't have anyone to deal with a flyer currently.
Although I guess you're still, dead in the air to Titanic Growth.
Sure.
You have another turn. You're definitely in a racing situation.
Oh, yeah. And the Hydra now dies to that Reef Soul we were talking about. Llanowar Empath of his own. Looks at a land and something else. Must be a creature.
We'll see it.
Oh! Mage Ring Responder. And the fact that he put the land on the bottom as well probably means he has a land hit in his hand in addition to it. Yes, indeed. Now, we've seen a lot of Mage Ring Responders. We've also seen them die fairly easily.
Yeah. So far, we have been 2 for 2 with that card being immediately Conclave Naturalists.
It's always a good feeling for the person playing the Naturalists.
Yeah.
All right, Sammy might be in a little bit of a pickle here. He's got the 5/5 staring down at him. That's going to kill him in 2 turns. What kind of things is he looking for?
I think, first off, he's looking for a removal spell for the demon.
Sure.
I mean, like an Unholy Hunger, Cruel Revival, something like that. That's ideal for him in this spot, but once that happens, he's still not out of the woods. I mean, he's looking to not... I mean, he has 2 cards in hand, and he was missing land drops, so the cards that he has are cards.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what they are.
I guess they're probably going to have to be 2 removal spells, right? Because he knows he has Siggy has the Mage Ring in his hand in addition to everything he already has on board.
I think that Sammy may just be chalking this one up as a defeat because he's writing down all of the cards
Oh, that he's seen.
that he's seen
Yeah.
now. He's thinking, well, while you're taking your turn and killing me.
This is
Let me
actually
just-
something I like to do too. Write down the important cards that you've seen, especially if you've seen multiples, which he has in Reef Soul. All right, a full swing out here by Michael Sigrist. I assume 2/2 is going to bounce in front of 2/2. So Sammy knows that he has the Mage Ring Responder in his hand and just asks to double check so he doesn't have to consult a
Yeah. May I read that card?
consult a judge. All right, so he's just going to bounce in front of the Hitchclaw. Ah, he did have a Hunger for the Demon.
Okay. It's a start.
And he, in fact, yes, does have 2 spells in the graveyard. He's going to gain 2 life.
Stays at 9.
Yep. Yeah, you were absolutely right. Sammy was, stuck on lands for a few turns, and he did have those removal spells in hand. So we've got to figure he has at least 1 more spell in hand.
Yeah, it might just be a 6-drop of his own, something like that. But
Sure. Looks like Titanic Growth off the top. If he has Wild Instincts and Titanic Growth, he can take care of the Mage Ring and get in for, 8 damage.
that's not too bad. I still wouldn't love his spot, but
Yeah, he's a little bit down on life still. Currently, anyways. Oh, it's another Timber Pack. All right.
let me read this.
So Mage Ring Responder doesn't untap during your untap phase. When it attacks, it deals 7 damage to a creature. Cannot target players. And then you can pay 7 colorless to untap it. So slow, but very, very powerful.
Yeah.
In late game situations like this, it's almost like a pseudo-vigilance. All right, trigger on the stack, target one of the Timber Pack.
Sammy's just going to be forced to bin that.
Sammy can technically block the Empath here and not be taking lethal. All right, priority passed. Sammy's going to take 3 from the Empath and the Hitchclaw. Mage Ring eats the other wolf. He's going to need to draw a spot removal spell for the Mage Ring real quick like. Okay, that actually works. Gaia's Revenge.
Is it spells or spells and abilities?
Spells and abilities.
Spells and abilities. It works. That is a successful removal spell.
I mean, he's still going to have to block and trade for the Mage Ring if Sigrist attacks, which is not good since he's going to take 3 damage. But that's something that can work. Oh, Marshall and I were talking about earlier the Rogue's Passage, Gaia's Revenge non-synergy. Sammy can't actually target his Gaia's Revenge with Rogue's Passage if it ever came down to that.
That is an interesting non-synergy. Rogue's Passage with a lot of interesting synergies and non-synergies in this set.
Yeah. All right.
I like taking control of my opponent's creatures with it.
Sure, sure. Big bombs trade off. Sammy falls to 3. Sigrist follows up with a Shaman, which is going to knock down Sammy's life to 1. He's going to need like a Languish here. He hits a land. Sammy scoops him up, and Michael Sigrist takes the first game. Good shot of the players there. Looks like Jesse Hampton's down a game versus Vince. Paulo's still up versus Jesse, and they're on game 2.
Yeah. Maybe we can take a look at Paulo's game here.
Sure.
Everybody else is shuffling up. So, there. The champion.
The champion, the anointer. Jacob's favorite card. One of them at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that as my favorite card.
Looks like Paulo's got a very, very powerful green-white deck. The only card that I might not like is the Force Mage, but everything else is great. The Consul's Lieutenant is one of the better uncommons for white, of course. Topin Freeblade chilling in the graveyard. Stalwart Aven and the aforementioned Anointer. Jesse's got some things going on. He's got a Patron, Kithian, and a Shambling Ghoul, so it's actually pretty even, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, life total's even.
Mm-hmm. Jesse's leaving up the 3-mana activated ability on Kithian. Makes it hard for Paulo to attack with the Consul's Lieutenant. It looks like Paulo's stuck on lands a little bit. Jesse's on 5, Paulo's on 3 currently. Does have that land in hand. Looks like he just drew it then.
Yeah, I mean, the Somber World Alpha seems like it does quite a lot here.
Yeah, especially in conjunction with the Anointer of Champions. It's gonna make it very hard for Jesse to block. And Paulo's gonna probably go into a racing position, I feel like.
That's probably his best chance. Like, as a green-white deck, the major problem is that your opponent starts gaining life when they're black-white. They get those swings in, and then it's hard to get a race down unless you do it quickly.
And exactly like you said, Paulo's playing down the Somber World Alpha, attacking with all of his creatures, even the Anointer, because of the Consul's Lieutenant triggering and giving all of his creatures an additional +1/+1/1.
Yeah, he's getting additional value out of the Anointer there by doing that, and then even if it, is attempted to be blocked, it's just going to get +1/+1 from the Alpha trigger. And
Paulo opting to read Gideon after he makes all of his attacks.
Let me just make sure I didn't just throw this away.
So Jesse can give Kithian indestructibility, but if it does block any of the creatures, all of the creatures are going to turn into a minimum 3 toughness, and Kithian won't be able to eat them, as they say.
I mean, the Alpha was clutch there.
Oh yeah.
So good.
I guess it was the land that allowed him to cast the Alpha, but yeah, certainly. I'm surprised at how well the green-white decks are actually functioning in the tournament. Did you expect them to be this good? I would expect more, I don't know, green-black, black-red type decks.
Well, I think these decks are just capable of running over those decks, and they're less reliant on drawing specific combinations of cards. Like, the thing is, like the red-black deck, I'm sure there are tons of powerful red-black opportunities for people, but if you don't draw the right mix of cards, then your deck's quite a bit weaker than, say, a green-white deck, which is just going to be brutally consistent, and you're going to have the opportunity to build absolutely perfect curves. And when you're, curving Anointer of Champions into something like Topin Freeblade or Consul's Lieutenant, it's going to be really hard to lose games.
Yeah, that's a great point. Sometimes you play less powerful cards that are more synergistic, but sometimes you just get ran over by the overall better cards.
And when you have this big of a pool, I think that green-white seems pretty awesome.
We have been seeing a ton of green-white. Tom Martell, notably.
And it's one of my favorite archetypes, even just
drafting?
Just drafting this format.
You do have access to a lot of nice combat tricks.
Yeah, I just really like Enshrouding Mist. It's just what I want to do.
Paulo does have one of those in his hand currently, but of course he's tapped out. Jesse in the tank, consulting with his team. Looks like he is going to make the attack with all 3 creatures. Kithian will flip post-combat. That's 8 damage that That Paulo's just taking.
Yeah, just dropping to 6 there.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Let's see what mode Jesse's going to choose with Gideon. He might just untap the patron, make it indestructible.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to need a follow-up play then.
He has a few cards in his hand and all of his mana still.
Yeah, the activation cost in the alpha, I believe, is 3, so that in combination with the Enshrouding Mist is probably lethal here.
Oh, the alpha is just a green and a colorless, I believe.
Yeah, it's just 1, so it's just 2. So yeah, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
with the Enshrouding Mist is just going to be lethal. And then we have, I guess it all depends on what Jesse has here too, because if Jesse has like an instant speed removal spell and can deal with the alpha, then he could, just blow out Paulo.
This is a great stabilization here. War Oracle, one of the better white uncommons. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and it's absolutely excellent here, where it's going to, trade with something and gain him quite a bit of life.
Well, remember, Paulo has the Enshrouding Mist, though, so creature's not going to deal damage, creature doesn't deal damage, Jesse doesn't gain the life.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Especially as they get the lethal attack. It's pretty hard to have lethal when your opponent has a 4/4 flyer and a 3/3 lifelink.
Especially when the 4/4 flyer is indestructible.
Yes.
You can't get through it.
But there are only 2 blockers to Paulo's 5 creatures, 5 attackers, if he opts to attack with everything.
Yeah, I think you just have to send with the whole team, right? Your opponent's at 7. So 3 guys are going to go unblocked, and then you just Enshrouding Mist the guy that gets blocked by the War Oracle, and you win.
Yep, and you're exactly right. Paulo opting to attack with everything, triggering the Consul's Lieutenant, pupping his team. Let's see if he has any pre-blockers effects. Doesn't look like it, though. Jesse doing a little math on the side. Oh, he's writing down the power and toughness of all the creatures post Consul's Lieutenant buff.
I like that. But
That's
these
it.
guys are doing due diligence with all of the math and the information they can hold on to, and here they are at 7-0.
Yeah.
It's working out well.
Ooh, but if I'm reading his paper correctly, I think he wrote down the Consul's Lieutenant as a 4/3, but it's not a 4/3. It's actually a 3/2. It doesn't pump itself. Right? So the 3/3 is the Force Mage. The 4/3 is the Alpha. I think he wrote down 4/3 twice.
Uh-oh.
That could be a little problematic.
That could be problematic. I mean, I think he's just dead no matter what, though, right? The Enshrouding Mist just wins the game.
It should. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if he blocks the biggest. Well, yeah, even if he blocks the biggest creatures, which he's doing. That might have been slightly awkward had.
Yeah, the first striker. Yeah, then Paulo wouldn't have even had to use the Enshrouding Mist.
This is game 2, though, so Jesse might have seen it in the previous game. We're not actually sure.
Yep. So Paulo's going to use this on the Summerworld Alpha.
Yep.
And then that's lethal damage.
He could even give the Alpha trample, too. All right, so Paulo takes 2 games out of 2. Defeats Jesse Molden. Look at the players still playing. Now, both of these teams are 7-0, so they really want to go into day 2 with a strong lead, 8-1 or 9-0 especially. Let's go back to our middle game, Sigrist versus Tharmaratnam. And again, double Reeve Soul from Sigrist's side. A lot of trading going on, it looks like. Wow.
Those Reeve Souls were some good Reeve Souls.
So what's in Sammy's graveyard right now? What did they hit?
So, Dwynen and Mana Gorger Hydra.
Oh.
So, that's pretty rough when your opponent's only spending 2 mana and a common to get rid of those 2 cards.
Yeah, getting 7 mana worth of cards, both of which great. Mana Gorger Hydra. We've talked about it a lot. 3 mana bomb. It has trample. It just gets bigger, bigger, bigger. Dwynen, of course, a 3/4 reach for 4, and even gains you some life when it attacks. But looks like Sammy has the better board position. Sigrist doesn't have any creatures. He's maybe scryed a few times off of the enchantment, but he's under the gun right now.
Yeah, Sam left a, or did he bottom both there with the empath?
I didn't actually see the reveal.
The reveal was a forest.
Okay, I see. So he needs the land.
He heard us.
Yeah. Once again, the players, fully aware of the information, just like Sigrist showed Sammy the majoring responder that he had drawn afterwards. Looks like an Elvish Visionary and one unknown for Sigrist off of
I
the
think
empath.
it was another Reeve Soul.
Okay. He might have 3 in his deck then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've had up to 4 in regular drafts. So
In the team sealed format, if Sigrist's the only black player, then he has access to all of them.
yeah. You open up 12 packs, you're going to get 3 of some commons.
Yeah, for sure. The Reeve Soul, it looks like, from Sammy, who's just getting very aggressive here. Dashes in for 4.
I mean, he needs to be aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
The Shadows of the Past on the other side of the table, like, if you go into a long game,
Sure.
it's not going to look good.
We were talking about the green-black mirror, where it is pretty grindy. Now, some of you might be thinking Sigrist missed the scry of his Shadows of the Past, but remember, he Llanowar Empath, both cards on top. He knew he was drawing the Visionary, so. Visionary comes down, trigger, draws a card. What do you think about Elvish Visionary? I know Marshall likes that card a lot. In these type of decks.
I mean, I love that card. I've played with that card, back in Extended. I used to play with that. And I just think it's great, too. I mean, it's good at, like, carrying veteran sidearms. It's just good at, threatening pump spells and things like that.
Okay. Yeah.
It chump blocks effectively. It combos nicely with Empath sometimes to, like, find you a key card on the same turn.
I think I only ever like that card if I'm running Evolutionary Leap or something. Otherwise, I'm like, it's fine filler. I guess it's low enough that, helps the curve. All right, Samuel's keeping the beats down. Plays a second Pack Wolf, making the other one capable of attacking as a 3/3. Shaman of the Pack, dealing 2 damage when it enters the battlefield. All right, so Sammy's willing to trade his 2/2 Empath for the Visionary here.
That's the other thing is Visionary, double blocks quite well with things because it's not really like double blocking and losing 2 cards.
That's a really good point. And, Sigrist is already on 5 life, facing down 2 3/3s and a 3/2. Let's see if he can pull something out. 6 mana. Oh, the Woodland Bellower.
That's the noise it makes.
All right, I like it. Is that what a bellow is?
Yeah, that's his bellow.
Okay.
I would do it louder, but I don't want to, break everybody's monitors.
So Siggy's able to find a green non-legendary creature that costs 3 converted mana cost or less. Gets the Shaman of his own. It's going to hit Sammy for 1 there.
Jeez, you don't have a Mana Gorger Hydra? Come on, Mike.
So unlucky. So unlucky. They're 7-0, but it could have been better.
I mean, he would probably get the Shimmer of the Pack anyway.
Sure.
Trades more effectively here.
Currently, that's definitely true.
So it looks like Sam was forced to just pass the turn back.
Now, notably, he's off of double black, and we know he has at least 1 Unholy Hunger in his deck, so that might be the last card in his hand. Looks like Siggy has a ton of spells left to follow this up with.
Yeah, his hand is stacked here.
At some point, he's going to be able to cast a spell and hold up the Shadows of the Past, start draining for 2. Once he gets enough creatures in the graveyard.
What do you think of that card, Shadows of the Past?
I mean, in a grindy matchup like this, I think it's excellent. If you're fairly aggressive, it's Knight's Reach in end game, and you get a scry off of it as well. But it's so slow.
It is so slow.
I love it, but
I want it to be good so badly, and it just doesn't play well for me.
At least we see eye to eye on that. I don't know about the Elvish Visionary. I can grant you the Anointer of Champions, but Shadows of the Past, just okay. Woodland Bellower getting in. That card is a quick clock, by the way. 6 power, no trample, but
yeah, it's pretty huge. I mean, how often do you play Vastwood Gorger? I play it all the time. I'm not in Team Sealed, I wouldn't, but Bellower is just a slam dunk. I feel like that card is going to have some constructed applications at some point or another. It had a little bit of the Pro Tour.
It definitely has the power to do so. We'll see if any deck breaks open. Maybe one of our world champs competitors will break a standard green deck.
People, one of the World Championship competitors was actually playing Woodland Bellower at Pro Tour Magic Origins.
Is that right?
Yeah, Antonio Del Moral
Leon. Yeah. Okay.
Playing it alongside Invasive Species and Demonic Pact.
Ooh, that's right. I remember that. The
sweet
sick combos. Yeah.
Spicy little number.
Demonic Pact, a card we could theoretically see in one of these matches.
Yeah, I hear, I don't want to say who it is, because I don't want to ruin their tournament, but there is somebody in the room playing a double Demonic Pact deck in Team Steel today.
Are they still in the tournament is the question?
Yes, they're still in the tournament.
All right, they're still in contention. They're still playing. Reef Soul number 3 for Michael Sigrist taking out, is that one of the Timber Pack Wolves, I believe?
Yeah.
And wow, Siggy just turned the corner here in this game. He's just getting completely beaten down by Sammy's quick draw, but he stabilized real well, and you got to imagine he's favored now. Let's see what Sammy can do here. Draws a card for a turn.
All right. Rough for Sammy.
Another empath. Not exactly what you're looking for, but it can help filter into better draws. Swamp and a creature. He's probably just going to keep both. I think he does need that double black. I've seen a lot of Recluses. That card has overperformed, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many 3 or less powered flyers in the format, or just creatures in general. It comes down early. It brick walls your opponent until you can find your fatties. And wow, it's just done some amazing work, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because that's a card that I think turned out to be worse than I thought it would be when I played it in draft. But when I played sealed at the pre-release, it was awesome for me.
Sure, yeah.
And I think when you have the opportunity to build a deck that can really use it well, a grindy type of deck, where you just want to put your shields up early on in the game, then it's quite good. So in these green-black decks, it's exactly the type of card you're looking for.
All right, multiple scry triggers going on the stack here. Looks like Shaman of the Hunt trade away for Timber Pack Wolf. The pack, sorry, not of the Hunt. He's thinking about this one. Again, he's just fueling his graveyard with more creatures.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be a land that he's thinking about putting on the bottom, because he does have the Major Ring Responder in hand, and you may think to yourself, oh, well, that's a 7th land. Of course he's going to keep that so that he can cast his Major Ring Responder. But the thing about keeping that 7th land is that, yeah, there was the best.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing about the 7th land, though, is that once you keep that on top, then every land you draw from that point forward is a dead card. So now he gets one more live card out of a land.
That's great. Yeah, and that's probably the only card he can't cast in his deck currently, so you figure he's going to be drawing a land eventually. All right, Macabre Waltz for Sammy. Actually, that seems very powerful in his deck. Wow. Of course, you have to discard a card after, discarding that Hitchclaw. Oh, almost accidentally kept the Waltz in hand.
You can't do that.
All right, Empath gets back, looks at a few creatures, it looks like. Oh, Disciple. Freaka's Disciple, I think I see. Actually, you know what? With the Shaman, he might be able to get Sigrist low enough to where, well, I guess Siggy still has his
hard.
Shadows. Yeah.
I mean, he's at 5 and he has a Shadows of the Past in play. You know, some people might tap all their mana and like miss it, but Mike Sigrist is not going to do that. Looks like Jesse Hampton got 2-0'd Table A. This is the last remaining match. This is for all the marbles.
So if Sigrist is able to 2-0 here, his team will advance to 8-0. Wow. That would be pretty great. And again, this is one of the teams that we've been watching out for on the day. Yeah, triple Reef Soul, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah. Not too shabby.
Is that his own Woodland Bellower? Wow, these decks are just card for card.
Good, man.
We'll see if he survives this turn. He has 2 creatures that are must blocks. Oh, I'm sorry, the lives. I was getting Sigrist's life total mixed up with Sammy's, but even so, that's a ton of damage.
This is interesting. Now, so I guess there's an Unholy Hunger in Sigrist's hand. But Does Sammy have a second copy of Shaman of the Pack? So could he like bellow
Ooh.
into a Shaman and then have enough blockers to survive and then re-Shaman for the win?
That would be interesting. Again, Unholy Hunger of Sigrist would gain 2 life, unbeknownst to Sammy that he has it. And then Shadows is still on the battlefield too, but
Yeah, so it's not likely that would work, but
well, if Sigrist doesn't have enough creatures in the graveyard to trigger the Shadows, maybe that's a thing.
Sammy, thinking about the block there, gonna go ahead and do it.
Blocks the bigger powered creature, takes 5 from the Vastwood Gorger. The card you were harping on not too long ago.
I play that card. all the time.
It's fine, it's fine. It's no Woodland Bellower, but it's a common.
It's definitely not a Woodland Bellower. Or a Sky Snare Sweater.
Sure. Or a Sky Snare. The things we deem mythic uncommons, just because they're so powerful, so good, and they get taken so early.
And that's definitely. I think that one and Anointer are very close in my book.
Really, the Spider and the Anointer?
Spider and Anointer. I think
Wow,
are
I don't know if I
very
can agree with that, but so Sigrist is passing the turn. You said he had Mage Ring Responder in his hand, but looks like he wants to hold up that Unholy Hunger. Sammy playing his own Woodland Bellower, getting an Elvish Visionary.
Fine card there.
A fine one.
Draw a card.
A fine one. And a blocker.
Also,
Yeah.
Gets a blocker out of the deal.
Ooh, I think he drew a Titanic Growth.
It could be something.
Yeah, if Sigrist just leaves 1 creature unblocked, that might prove lethal. Of course, Sigrist is gaining 2 life here and then scrying again, but he's able to draw multiple pump spells, might be able to get through.
Well, he has the Shaman of the Pack too, so if he's able to get through with anything, he can win the game. But
That's true. Yeah, all of his creatures on the battlefield currently elves. Although he's definitely going to need to make some blocks now. Sitting at 8 life. Facing 2 creatures with power 5 or greater.
it's getting interesting.
Jesse consulting Sigrist on what to do here.
So I think you eat the Visionary with the Empath and then chump the Bellower with the Visionary.
Thereby taking 5. Yep.
Yeah,
And
keeps you out of range of the Shadows.
Precisely. Good point there.
Gives you one last lick.
I'm not sure what Sammy can draw at this point, but he's fighting yet. The thing is, how do you put yourself in a winning position if you just double chump the big creatures, right? I think you're right. I think you need to keep the Empath at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep the Empath, then like maybe you can like draw a Reeve Soul of your own.
Sure.
Then Reeve Soul the Recluse, then attack with the Empath, Titanic Growth, Shaman of the Pack.
Yeah, that does seem like a bit of damage. You get 2 for the Empath, 6 from the Titanic Growth, 2 more.
Yeah, so it's
All right. I mean, he
just
has a
one
fighting
short.
chance. Yeah, he has a fighting chance.
right? I think because the Shadows of the Past is live now, right?
I believe so. Does Sammy have enough mana to do that? Titanic Growth, Shaman, and Reeve Soul. Okay, he would.
He would have enough.
If he has all 3, but that's assuming Michael does nothing.
Oh.
Is that a sideboard Night Snare?
It is a sideboarded Night Snare.
And he's choosing the discard 2 mode, so wow, Sammy just got to get rid of both his cards. Offers the hand, Michael Sigrist takes the game 2-0. His team is now sitting at 8-0. 8-0. Can you believe that?
I can believe that.
I guess you can.
I feel like if somebody asked me in the dark, how are these guys going to do after 8 rounds? Probably would have said 8-0.
Yeah. Let's bring it back to the booth here.